All right, so this is the kill cone. The reason I put the turkey in the kill cone is I want it to be upside down. It gets a little dopey, I think, when they get upside down, so they don't really know everything that's going on. But more to the point is, I don't want to chop their head off and have them flopping around. I really just want to cut the jugular vein and let them bleed out, let that heart pump and gravity work and the heart work and just flush all that blood out of that bird. And the bird is actually dead pretty quick, even though it might give the appearance like it's not dead. So you get a good view. So put the turkey in the kill cone. Pull its head down the bottom. So come over here. So what we want to do is we want to cut it right in the jugular. We don't want the windpipe to be cut. We just want the jugular itself. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just back up a little bit. See, I hit the windpipe. I didn't want to do that. But, you know, whatever. So now they die pretty quick. So we're just going to let it bleed out. Don't want it to get all banged up in there. Let that heart just pump it all out. The mistake there was I actually cut the windpipe. I didn't want to do that. Okay, so now what we do is we pull it out here. I'm letting the blood drain, and take it over to the dunk tank. I have some water sitting on about 140, 150 degrees. I'm going to dunk it in. It's going to loosen up all the feathers, swish it around, and then we start plucking. So here we go with that. Good sized bird, huh? All right, give it a good dunk. Get it in there. And then the plucking is the most boring part and the most tedious part. Okie doke, here we go. There we go. Is it recording?
Yes.
Alright, so now bird's all plucked out. Still got some little feathers here and there, but I'm not worried about those too much right now. I got the big ones. So now it's time to butcher it out. First thing you want to do is there's this gland right in here. I always forget to cut it out, so I do it now while I'm thinking about it. But we're going to cut that out there. If you don't get that, the oil that's in that gland, which is used to oil the feathers on the bird and keep them moist, it's going to spread that oil through your bird when it cooks. So we want to get that out of there first. So I'm not really the best at it, but kind of hack it out myself, but that's all right. Actually, you can see I got under the gland. You can see there's still some oil in there. See, so I want to get that all out of there. I am not a pro at this. I'm just some schmuck who happens to have space to raise turkeys. So criticize it all you want. At least I'm raising a fresh bird. What do I care? Alright, so I got that gland all out of there. Now I won't forget. So, the next thing is I'm going to take the head out, try and keep that neck as close to the body as I can. So the first thing I'll do is I'm just going to cut all the flesh around it. And if I did my job right before, it really won't bleed too much because it's already bled out. I got a little bit here, so I didn't do the best job at missing the windpipe, and it expired sooner than I wanted it to. But that's all right. So I'm just cutting the meat around, just making sure I don't cut my fingers off. there we go. You got the esophagus, and all the other veins and arteries and things that are there. So the only thing holding it together here is bone. So there's your head. Whoops. I don't want to do that. All right, so now here is the crop where the food goes when the bird eats the food at first. It goes from the crop before it gets down to the gizzard to get digested. So I'm going to get my finger in there. So here's that esophagus here. I'm going to get my finger and separate everything from around that neck bone. It's easy to stand up and do it.
Sounds like you're doing an autopsy.
Now what I do is I get my finger up and behind that crop. What I don't want to do is tear it open, and whatever they not yet digested ends up all over the place. I don't want that. So I'm just going to carefully take my time and just sort of roll my fingers around it, sort of trace the form. So you can see my fingers rolling in there around that crop. There's a digestive tract that I guess you call it intestine or whatever that comes up and connects to the crop. See, that's what this is here. So now, really, it's just muscle tissue holding that crop in there. I'm just going to kind of slowly roll it out. On a big bird like this, it's a lot easier. It's a lot harder on a smaller bird like a chicken. There we go. And again, I'm taking my time with this because what I don't want to do is rip it open. So then I got feed all over my meat. So there it is. There's the crop. It's all in there with that big pile of muscle. So I didn't feed him yesterday, so there's not a lot in there. Esophagus, so I'm making sure everything's out nice and clean. There it is. So now I'm just going to roll my finger around the neck and separate everything else, because when I go from the other side and pull it out, I want all the guts to come out nice and easy. Alright? Okay. There we go. Everything's all separated there. Nice. We'll clean it all up later. Alright, so now the legs. Get those nice drumsticks. So I usually will take I'll always just bend it and then just cut that tendon. It comes right off and I can see. I don't want to dull my knife, so I'm not going to be hacking on the bone. I just want to free up all this flesh. See that? I'm looking for that knuckle. There we go. So you get that nice drumstick that everybody likes. So there's that. All right. And we're going to save the feet and the heart and the liver and all that because there's somebody around that likes it to eat it. And that's a good thing. Get that tendon, cut it. Again, we're going to cut all around. I'm just kind of twisting a little bit because I'm really just looking for that knuckle. See? There it is. There it is. I don't want to saw at the bone. It's just going to dull my knife if I do that and cause me no end of frustration and risk cutting my finger. So, wash that off later, eat it up. Now we're ready to take the guts out. So how do we do it? I'm just going to pinch some fat here. I don't want to poke anything that's inside. So I want to be careful. I'm aware of where the intestines are, right? Again, somebody that does this for a living just whips through this. I don't do it for a living. I work with computers. But I don't want to tear this apart uncontrolled. So I'm going to just make a little bit of a incision here. Now, reach in. The idea here is I'm going to pull all the guts out without breaking anything open, any of the intestines open, and spoiling the meat. So I'm just scooping it and pulling it. And I'm going to pull it all out so that I get to that anus. So that's all just scooped out there. Okay? Now, I'm going to cut around the anus. Just like that. Hopefully you can see it. And so now, I didn't taint any of my meat. See that? So, I'm going to pull the liver, put that to the side, and we're going to separate the gizzard, and everything else gets thrown away. Oh yeah, I'm going to pull in here, and we're going to pull out the heart. Okay, it's officially dead. It has no heart. Save that. Now with the gizzard, what we do is we're going to cut it open. So this is all just fat around it. You can save it, you can keep it, I don't care what you do with it. But, you know, it peels off. It sticks to you too. I'm going to cut this gizzard open. There's a membrane inside we want to pull apart. There we go. So that's all the food that was digesting. But we want to pull this membrane off. That's not edible. It's not good for you. And it wants to give me a hard time. Usually it just comes right off. Could be the way I'm leaning here. Okay, there we go. So once you get it going, it just peels like nothing. So you want to pull that whole thing off. I'm standing here, doesn't help my goal. All right, there you go. So there's your gizzard, all ready to be cleaned up and used for whatever you want to use the gizzard for. Now, what's left to do is pull out the lungs and kidneys, gonads, all that stuff. So there's the lungs. And the rest from here is really just treating the bird like you would if you got it from the grocery store. We'll hose it down in a second, clean up all the blood, all the other stuff, and that's it. Got a nice turkey. Butterball. Well, Freeman ball.